Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to present to Madam about the understanding consumer perception, which is in terms of culture. So, firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abdul Muin bin Khalid, and then some of my other groups will be Irfana, Shaza and Tasha, Askia and Aisha, and Haifa. So the content that we will be talking about today is the introduction, summary of the article, discussion of the article, application of culture from the article, and then conclusion. Okay. So the introduction. So as we know that consumers are known to be an asset. So in terms of this, of course, we have learned that without customer, any businesses won't work. So the understanding of consumer behavior helps to determine their buying behavior. So to understand consumer, we have to understand the consumer behavior. So this will determine on what they want to buy. So one factor is culture. So I think my teammates will talk about furthermore about this later on. A particular group, a culture is a particular group revolves around beliefs, tradition, and customs. And then consumer behavior are usually influenced by values, attitudes, culture, family, and experience. Consumer behavior relies on cultural elements. This will be further talked as well by my teammates. And then the assumption, value, standards for trusting and evaluating. So this one, I think will be talked in the 4.3.0, if I'm not mistaken, that assumption, values, and standards and trusting, evaluating. So I think the next one. So the summary of article.
Okay, hi, my name is Irfana. So I'm going to talk about the summary of article. So the culture of an individual has a significant impact on their thinking process and behaviors. It continues to play a role in deciding how and why we consume a good and service because it has such an impact on how people view the environment around them, their positions in it, and how they make decisions. Cultural elements such as time orientation seem to bear influence on elements of online shopping such as trust and social interaction. Talking about cultural elements, cultural historians have looked at a variety of different phases of culture, such as youth orientation, long-term versus short-term orientation, masculinity versus femininity, the power gap index, individualism versus collectivism, indulgence versus discipline, and ambiguity avoidance are only a few examples. Cultural influence can manifest themselves in unexpected way. For example, a cultural time orientation can be seen in how giving it is of tardiness and efficiency, as well as how people in that culture handle the personal time. So moving forward to marketing impact, some excellent example of marketing that is sensitive to cultural expectation and functions within them. For example, motorbike marketing. Motorbikes are often through of as the ultimate individual commodity in the West, and the marketing message that surround them represent a culture that promotes and reward individualistic self fulfillment. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, for discussion, the main idea of this article is to tell that the culture of an individual has a significant impact on their thinking process and behaviors, and it continues to play a part in deciding how and why we use goods and services because it has such a strong influence on how people view the world around them. And that is how they make their decision And the effect of culture on purchasing behavior can be very evident at times. Any purchasing habit are easy to recognize because of cultural bans against eating items such as like alcohol, foods, or cultural expectation for clothing type. Okay, next. So the elements of the culture. The element of culture is culture influence a collection of beliefs and philosophies held by a certain community or groups of people. It is an individual's culture that determine or how he or she reacts. So to put in another way, culture is nothing more than an individual's ideals. As a child, what a person knows from his parents and relatives become his culture. Next is a person creates his or her own collection behavior, values, and principles based on his or her family status and history. And their culture is shaped by what they see around as children. And next is a culture time orientation. For example, can be seen in how forgiving it is to tardiness and inefficiency, as well as how people in that culture handle their personal time. For example, is extreme lateness, such as trains and delayed for hours, and often correlate in culture with a past oriented time. Uh, some people mostly have small tribal group live in conventional and relatively primitive life, do not recognize time as a term. So, uh, understanding cultural elements like this will help you appreciate and engage with consumer in this market more effectively. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Nina Fatia Natasha. So I'm going to explain about definition of culture. So culture is referred to the storage of knowledge, experience, beliefs, value, attitudes, meaning, hierarchy, religions, meaning of time, rules, partial relationship, concept of the universe, and material object and positions acquired by a group of people. Next, it also defined as historical, geographical, and family factors that influence the assessment and intervention process. Last, this also preserve behavior that the whole experience learn gather from a person who is socially transmitted or simply behavior through social learning. Next, for the culture value are fundamental beliefs and ideas upon which the entire culture is established, protected, and depends on its existence and harmonious relation. Next, value determine what matter they deserve as a guide for the ideals and behavior culture. Last, culture value also provide a pattern of line and set rules and models for attitude and behavior. Next.
So, hi. For cultural issues affecting consumer behavior, person's culture influence on their thought processes and behaviors. So, culture influence behavior. Cultural prohibition against consuming product, example like alcohol or cultural preference or style or clothing easy to patent. So next, cultural elements such as time orientation, like in the article, whether a culture tends to focus on the past or present or future, seem to bear influence on elements of online shopping such as trust and social interaction. Cultural values are widely held beliefs that affirm what is desirable. So we learn culture from families, peers, institutions, and media. Lastly, culture is shared because we share culture with other members of our group. We are able to to act in socially appropriate ways as well as predict how others will act. A symbol is something that stands for something else. They only have meaning when people in a culture agree on their use. And another one, language, money, and art are also symbols. Culture is integrated, which means that the various parts of a culture are interconnected. And lastly, culture is dynamic, simply means that cultures interact and change because most cultures are in contact with other cultures. They exchange ideas and symbols. For next one, Askia.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sajida Askiana Nizami. I will present about 42 point, which is marketing mix strategy application on cultural values. The marketing theory has undergone impressive change. Marketing is an evolving concept, same as the burdening concept of the cultural heritage. Sorry. On the other hand, the marketing mix concept is one of the core concepts of marketing theory. The four-piece version, which is product, price, promotion, and place, has increasingly come under attack with the result that different marketing mix have been put forward for different marketing contexts. Okay, science based on cultural values of article. Promotion, making promotion or advertisement based on the country national event or holidays and a country's religious holidays. In conjunction of the event, example, Ganesh Festival from India, brands published over 719 posts about Ganesh Chaturthi, an Indian festival. Example of the brand is Max Fashion. Next is product, which is Indian consumers tend to be more family oriented. Before slide. Okay. Okay. For product, Indian consumers tend to be more family oriented than Western ones, but that doesn't mean there's aren't Indian consumers who don't make highly individualistic purchasing decision or Western ones that don't think collectively. Last, which is place. The idea of a family motorbike seems ludicrous to Western bikes, but it's a practical choice in a more collectivist, family-oriented culture in an Asia market, such as Thailand. Next. For cultural aspect in advertisement, advertising mirrors the value and needs of society, and therefore the claims and appeal contained in ads reflect the behavior or aspiration of potential customer. Advertisement based on the country national event or holidays and a country religious holiday, which is Ganesh Festival from India, brand published same like the point that I explained before. This is Ganesh Festival from India, and for the brand example is Fashion Mix.
My name is Siti Nurhaifa binti Hamza, and I'm going to present our conclusion. Firstly, consumers' experience, perception, and expectations are shaped by culture, which is related to attitudes, emotions, social norms, goals, and behaviors. Also, religious differences and similarity, on the other hand, are supported by factors such as shared core beliefs, personalities, and traditions, among other factors that contributes to it. Second point is work groups, shopping groups, social groups, and communities are the most common types of groups that affect customer choices. With each passing day, the world becomes more globalized, but it cannot be ignored that consumers all over the world have the same wants and desires, making it possible for retailers to manufacture the same goods for different areas. For the third point is consumers all over the world have the same wants and desires, making it, the fourth point, understanding these differences is crucial to ensuring that a business can generate reasonable gains on its market asset while still generating a profit. However, there are also significant variation in customer choices based on cultural background. Companies must be aware of these distinctions, especially if they want to market goods in a new region or area. Thank you.
I think that is from us to discuss about the cultural, to understand the consumer perception. So I think that's from us. Thank you very much.